Hello, 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 everybody. I hope you are all doing better than I have been doing these past few days here. As you may be able to tell, my voice is not entirely back. Still have a bit of a residual cough here, but I have survived the cold that has attempted to take my life. No, not the Rona, Alex. Just a common cold. My brother, who's in 7th grade, I guess his class had gone to a field trip to the elementary school to, I don't know, hang out with the kindergartners or something. And he was like, they were all like sneezing and sniffling, and they weren't covering their faces when they coughed. And then, next thing you know, he has a cold. And then he spreads it to everyone else in the family. I swear my voice was better like just before I started here, but then I started to cough like a few minutes beforehand, and now it's feeling a bit scratchy. Testing, 1, 2. That sounds a little better. You'll just have to deal with it. We'll just have to deal with it. We'll power through. I'll try not to cough too much. Sure, so you don't just say anything, Derpy. Just merge the Avi pull quest like we talked about. I don't know what you're talking about. You might need to slip me a Twitch sub to convince me. Welcome to the ad-free experience. We're just yanking your chain, Sog. Anyway, who all do we have here? We have Benny. We have Doom, we have Rising, who says it's 11 p.m., so I will only stay short. I do want to talk about your camera acceleration pull quest first, just to get some feedback from people, see how they like the idea of it. So, if you can at least stay for that, that'd be cool. Lewis says he probably can also only stay for about an hour. Wolfie asking how a death sweet embrace was. I mean, it wasn't really that close to death. Now, 2 years ago it was, but this time it really wasn't. It was just, So on Tuesday, when I said that I started to have a sore throat, I was like, I feel like I'm starting to get sick here. Wednesday was the worst of it. I think I woke up Wednesday morning, and at that point, it really started hitting me. Really started to pick up. And I think it was at its worst around noon to 4 on Wednesday. And then I fell asleep at like 4:30, 5 o'clock p.m. Didn't wake up until like midnight, 1 a.m. on Thursday. Downed some ibuprofen. Went back to sleep a few hours later. Slept for another like 6 hours. Woke up, just kind of stayed in my room all day. And then yesterday I woke up and my throat was just killing me. Like the first day it was just like a slightly sore throat. Second day it was like a headache, it was a fever, it was a little bit of coughing, but then the fever went away, the headache went away, but then it was just coughing, and then the coughing started to go away, and it was just a really sore throat. It like hurt to swallow. Took some painkillers for that. Downed the good old ibuprofen and acetaminophen combo to help that, along with a cough drop. And then most of today I was feeling fine. And then, like I said, I just started coughing. But Asher asked, how many Twitch ads do I need to watch? None here. Moose says here, hello, by the way, seeing as you're a horse, you must be better soon, or else load shotgun. Nah, I've not broken my ankle, so I think we're fine on that. Sure says I will probably also have to leave soon. Okay. Betty says derpy pathology stream. Yeah. Jeez. Hopefully this clears up. Roadrunner says little kids are disease magnets. Yeah. Some of my coworkers, just like one of my coworkers just started sending her kid to daycare, I think, and then she's been getting sick. And one of the other guys at work is like, oh, yep, that's going to happen. Get used to it. Sog says his voice is still hoarse. Nobody made the joke yet. Yeah. Glad to see that Roadrunner is here, though, because I will be looking at some of your pull requests as well. I mentioned that I don't know how long I'll stay. I was kind of planning on this being a bit of a shorter one, but now that my voice is so scratchy, maybe we keep it even shorter than I thought. I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling after like an hour or two. Again, hopefully it clears up from all the talking, because I haven't been talking too much past few days here. At least been sitting around. Benny says it's good for them to build the immunity early on. Yeah. Alex says long enough to merge C-Core. Sog says let's go. Perhaps. No. Sure says Bashkmul merge? Question mark. That's a bit far off, isn't it? It's not even in a pull request yet, is it? Or am I crazy? Anyway. Sure says merge the core pull request. It would be funny. No. It would not be funny. That's what they said about High Reveal. I haven't been laughing. Sog says it's just a discussion right now. Okay, yeah, I know I had seen it somewhere. I just didn't think it was a pull request just yet. Roadrunner says probably not for like a year. Rising says merge the discussion. I don't think that's possible. Anyway, though, let's stop playing around here and actually just jump into things. I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to talk about from the past few days that I would have liked to have streamed a bit more, but I kind of got blindsided here. I actually had to call off work the back half of Wednesday because I was like, this is so bad. Like, I can't even focus on my work. Like, you'd think sitting in bed on your laptop coding wouldn't take that much out of you, but it does. When you're sick, it really does. Azure says, talk about the Shrouded pull request. It's the only important thing. Yes, there were some things that were merged. I'll swap over to the browser here. So, earlier in the week, / sometime last week, we talked about the tractor beam and the Shrouded systems. Shrouded stuff I just merged earlier today. One of the things that I think I noted already, there was a bug that we found on stream. Turns out it was a bug in vanilla. So I was like, you know what? My pull request is fine then. Got the Rising approval here, and went ahead and merged it. And Azure is already playtesting it for me, just to make sure nothing is broken. You know how it is. Then also merged the Flotsam tractor beam. Now I did actually change some of how this behaved after we last looked at it. So Rising made a comment on some of the code where I think that we actually looked at it at the very end of one of the streams. This part specifically, he was like, why are you doing this here? Like, why do you have 2 loops when you could just have 1 loop? And I was like, oh, well, no particular reason. That's just kind of how I ended up doing it. But I can definitely see why it would be much cleaner to just be a single loop. So I changed it so that it loops through all of the ships with tractor beams once, sees if they are pulling on each flotsam. If it does, it returns a point saying how much it pulled on it by. And then it adds that to the total pull vector, which is really what it was doing before, just in a different way. But then I realized, well, now that I'm doing it inside this loop, I have direct access to the ship. So what I could also do is take the ship's velocity into account. And I had this, I was testing out how that worked, and I had this comment saying, like, what if we add the velocity of the ship that is pulling on the flotsam to the flotsam? What this does is it basically makes it so that if you have a flotsam in your tractor beam, you're never going to be able to pick it up manually by flying at it, because it's being pushed along with your ship. But the tractor beam is still causing it to be slowly pulled toward you. So the distance is decreasing, but you can basically snag a flotsam and then fly away with it. This ended up feeling way better to me than what we had when I last showed it off. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I was showing off the tractor beam before, I was keeping my ship very still when I was having the flotsams pulled toward me. Because if I were to move, the tractor beam was not powerful enough to make the flotsam keep up with me. And you can actually get yourself in a situation where you're drifting away from the flotsam at the same speed that your tractor beam is pulling the flotsam toward you, which really didn't make sense to me. It made the tractor beam feel almost useless, because, well, you need to fly quickly to keep up with the flotsams, or not to keep up with the flotsam, to keep up with the asteroid that you're mining. Then you destroy the asteroid, but now you're telling me I need to stay still for my tractor beam to effectively track and pull in the flotsam? So I wasn't super happy with what I was showing off last time, but now with the ability to have direct access to the ship's velocity, I was like, well, let me add the velocity of the ship and see how that feels. It felt a lot better. A lot. Because now, tractor beams are actually useful for bringing the flotsams directly to you, instead of you needing to either like sit there and wait, or them just being a slight improvement over manually picking them up, because they kind of slightly come toward you. It at least stops them from flying away from you before, but now it actually is a tool that really helps with grabbing flotsam. Alex's tug of flotsam, yeah. Now, this initial comment didn't work out perfectly, because what ended up happening is every ship that would pull on a flotsam would add their own velocity to it. So if you had like 3 ships that were all flying in the same direction toward a flotsam, and all tried to grab it with a tractor beam all at once, they would all add their velocity to the flotsam and just have it like fling off at 3 times the speed as whatever the ships were at. So what I ended up doing was taking the average velocity. So I add up the velocity of all the ships that are dragging on each flotsam, and then how many ships there are, just divide that out, so we get an average velocity to add to the flotsam. And I have this big comment here that Rising took note of. I wanted to explain why I was doing this in the code, because I feel like at a glance this would seem like a very strange thing to do, but this is my rationale here. If any tractor beams successfully fired on a flotsam also drag the flotsam with the average velocity of each ship, when dealing with individual ships, this makes tractor beams feel much more capable of dragging flotsams. If anyone wants to, open up a type up pull request, much more capable of dragging flotsam to the ship. Also, I think technically flotsam is its own plural, so flotsams I think is incorrect, but whatever. Otherwise, a ship could be drifting away from a flotsam at the same speed that the tractor beam is pulling the flotsam toward the ship, which looks awkward and makes the tractor beam feel pointless. The whole point of a tractor beam should be that it collects flotsam for you. This does mean that if you fly toward a flotsam that is in your tractor beam, then you'll be pushing the flotsam away from your ship, but the pull of the tractor beam will still slowly cause the distance between the ship and the flotsam, or slowly close the distance between the ship and the flotsam, when multiple ships are dragging on a flotsam, this causes a better appearance of a struggle between the ships, all trying to get a hold of the flotsam should the ships all have similar velocities. If the ships have differing velocities, then it can make it so that a quicker ship can yank a flotsam away from a slower ship. Which, I know we talked about having stronger tractor beams to do that, so you would use a stronger tractor beam to pull away, but this actually makes it so that the strength of the tractor beam that you have is really just how quickly it's pulling the flotsam toward you. It's the speed of your ship that allows you to steal flotsam from other ships. So it's not quite exactly how we envisioned it last time, but I think for what it is, it's an interesting enough mechanic. I kind of noted before I merged the pull request, might still need some tweaking here and there, But I think this is a very good foundation at this point to work off of. Benny says you always forget how good being healthy feels before you're sick. Yeah, I was thinking that. I was no joke thinking that one of the days. I was like, man, nature's really humbling me right now. Taking for granted how it feels to be able to breathe. Sog says, I'm not sure the AI uses it quite properly yet. In my experience, the AI doesn't play as though it has the tractor beam. Could you explain more what you mean by that? Something I did do is, I mean, the ships will still try to directly fly toward Flotsam, but as soon as a ship has a Flotsam in its tractor beam, it should try to stop flying toward it, because flying toward it isn't going to help. So what I have here is each ship remembers what it is taking or what it is trying to grab onto with its tractor beams, and then when it's doing the do harvesting logic, which is where you pick up or where you target Flotsam to pick up, it avoids any Flotsam that it already has in its tractor beam. Rising says, can't wait to see Flotsam war between mining ships. Yeah. Harold says, oh, that's true. You don't need to mine anymore. You can steal it easier than ever. I mean, yeah. Russian says, or Alex says, does C++ not have block comments? It does, but we don't use them. It's in the style guide. The only block comments we have are the ones at the top of every file. So let me... these ones. MZ's rules, not mine. I just enforce them. Benny says, would love to see Flotsam soccer. Rising says, you should have used a block comment. Shaking my head. I just told you. MZ's rules, not mine. I just enforce them. Benny says, ever since Ejo entered hibernation, we haven't been reviewing code comments. Musa making jokes. Sog says, it'll collect Flotsam directly still, but it feels like the tractor beam is an afterthought. But perhaps that's only because of the time, or by the time it collects the Flotsam and grabbed with the tractor beam, it already collected all of the other Flotsam. Yeah, I didn't. So when I was testing the Flotsam, the tractor beams, I was mainly testing it with my escorts. I wasn't really throwing it on random fleet spawns to see how they would behave. Rising says code comments are allowed to have grammatical errors, or if it makes the comment shorter. Sog says, with the above, though, I guess I wonder how unique the tractor beam really helps, since it only gets a chance at one Flotsam per mineable. Well, one Flotsam per tractor beam, really. If a ship has a lot of turrets, and it's set to opportunistic, then it could grab like 3 Flotsam at once with the tractor beams. But if you have ships with one turret, then yeah, one turret is going to grab one of the Flotsam that pops out, and then the ship is going to go manually collect the others. It's not going to wait until the tractor beam collects all of them. Sox is true, going to make an ARI mining variant. I mean, I showed off the freighter. You gotta have a freighter with 2 tractor beams. See how that works out. Anyway, let's move along now. That was the only comment I wanted to make on the change to tractor beam behavior. We'll look at it a bit more when we take a closer look at SOG's mining update, where he actually adds a proper tractor beam outfit. Yeah. All right, on to the first pull request I actually wanted to get to. So this is an older pull request from Rising that he had closed, but recently reopened. because he said he likes the idea still and wants to see it implemented. What this does is add an optional, it adds a preference to add acceleration to your camera in-game that reacts to the movement of your ship. As you notice here, every time the player's flagship is thrusting, an offset is applied to the camera to make the acceleration more, quote, feelable. This is optional and can be turned off or on in the settings. There's also a reverse setting to have the offset go in the other direction. So I actually have a compiled version of the game here. So we can pull this up and look at this in real time instead of just looking at the videos that have been posted on this. I noted that this honestly isn't a mechanic that I see myself using. So I'd like to gauge the interest in this feature before merging this, because if there's not a lot of interest in a feature like this, then I don't really see much of a point in merging it if I myself wouldn't see myself using it. I did ask on Discord if anybody would be interested in this, and I did get a few responses saying, yes, I would see myself using this, I can see where this would be helpful. Ignore the the bugs here that I assume were patched out. I will note this isn't reacting to all acceleration that occurs to your ship. It is only reacting to you using forward or reverse thrusters. So at the moment, it doesn't react to firing force on your weapons or hit force on the weapons of enemies. Although, I feel like if it did, hit force should cause a bigger offset, even if it doesn't actually knock you off course that much. You know, just like some haptic feedback type stuff. When you look at my stream tomorrow, right, says Sog? I mean, if it's happening right after our chat, then I can probably just be on the stream. We can, like, be in a voice chat. Alex asked, are tractor beams intended primarily for heavy ships that suck at chasing flotsam around? That is one use, and really that was my first use that I thought of when I wanted to add them. But now that I've changed up how they work to include the velocity of the ship that's firing the tractor beam, they can actually still be useful on small ships as well as a means of stealing flotsam, which we kind of already mentioned. Yes, the setting is off by default. Sog says, for me, I disable it. It's a bit jarring compared to the rest of the gameplay, especially in larger battles. Same with me disabling landing zoom. Landing zoom is enabled by default. No, it's off by default. It's on by. No, I'm pretty sure it's off by default. I know this is off by default. I'm checking the preferences. You know how I can tell if something is on or off by default? Oh, it is on by default. What the? Landing zoom. It's horrible. Revert it. I do actually find landing zoom jarring. This, similarly, not a major fan of this myself, like I mentioned, but I mean, some people like it, some people like it. So let's actually swap over to the game itself. Alex says, leave landing zoom on. Benny says, revert, revert. Starting a war in the comments here. A war in chat. Alright, let me just make sure the setting is on. Okay, it is. And I have the tooltip, right? Hello? Tooltip? I could have sworn it was working. Oh, because I'm not on the branch with the tooltip. Okay, never mind. I'm on my master branch, but I'm using the executable from the pull request. That's why the tooltip is missing. Anyway, so there's off, on, and reverse. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the point of reverse is, because the Weird Nut gave a good reason for why on, or like why the forward direction exists. So you guys can see my mouse, right? I'm gonna keep my mouse in the center of the screen. Oh, don't ignore him. And as I start accelerating, my ship is moving like down and to the left, away from where my mouse is. And if I move my direction of travel, the ship is always going to be moving like opposite the direction of acceleration. And what the Weird Nut said is this actually gives you a better field of view, or can give you a better field of view in front. Or at least that was the idea. Although, is this actually giving you a better field of view in front of your ship? I mean, I guess it is. I don't know. I feel like it's too slight for me to really notice. And maybe the ship just isn't quick enough to really show it off, but... I mean, yeah, there's more space on the screen in front of my ship than there is behind my ship, necessarily speaking. So, yeah, it gives you a bit more time to react to stuff because there's more space in front of your ship on the screen. Why then would I use reverse? What point then would... Like, when would I use reverse acceleration on the camera? Because then that's decreasing the amount of space I have in front of my ship. It's decreasing my reaction time. Or not decreasing the reaction time, like, decreasing the... You know what I mean. Decreasing your reaction time would be better. But it decreases the amount of time you have to react to something, is what I was looking for. Let me grab a faster ship, because I saw Alex was going wild with a mini ship. Marauder Fury, let's go. Hold on. We can put an afterburner on this. Gotta make some space for it. What's it called? The bellows. There we go. 2, 3. Oh, actually, hold on. Also, dev drive, so I don't run out of fuel. Whee! So that's reverse acceleration. I have even less space on the screen. If I swapped it to on, and then it flings around because I think I'd swap back and forth between the settings. I mean, like, this makes sense to me. I have more space to look at what's ahead of me. Anyway. Come to a stop there. Rising says, someone asked for reverse, don't ask me why. I mean, I don't know if that's a good reason. We have to demonstrate this in a flavor. Okay, well, we've swapped over. Turn off VSync, says Anarchist. No mouse visible. Wait, never mind. Okay. Azure asks, is this based on the acceleration the ship can impart, or any kind of acceleration imparted on the ship? Right now, it's just the thrusting of your ship. So if you get impacted by a hit force weapon, it will not affect your screen. It will not affect your camera. Can you go off screen? Asks Sog. Yes, I think you can. Which, I don't know, maybe we should have a maximum offset. Because that is something I saw. Rising said is one of Azure's comments, and Azure says it was probably Iraqi on my account. Rising says no, go off the screen. New cloaking device, says Sog. Azure says, not gonna lie, I kind of want to add a sort of camera vibration attribute engines can have. Make Ion engine super smooth and Atomic's a bit rougher. Don't know about that. Is it speed based or acceleration based? I think it's just speed. Right? It just looks at the velocity of your ship. And then if you're not moving, it slowly pans back to normal. Very slowly. But if I were to like start moving in the other direction, it would pretty quickly come back to the center. We're going. And we're gone. We're off the screen. Azure says it kind of jumped a bit when you did that. Yeah, I did notice that. If you like reverse or if you like go backward, it has a bit of a jumpiness to it when you swap directions. I don't know if that's a bad thing though. It's kind of like a it's kind of showing that you're joking in the opposite direction, you know. Yeah, like that. It kicks back to the right and then comes back to the left. Sure says shaking my head. That's not how acceleration works. Is this an argument from realism? Off-screen combat challenge. Anyway, so yeah, I was, like I said, just kind of looking for interest in the idea. So I guess a quick show of hands in the chat. Who would like to see this as a part of the game? Really bad thing that shift is my afterburner key, which means if I want to if I have an afterburner and I want to slow down and come to a stop, I hit the afterburner when I try to shift S. Benny says merge. Rising says me. You don't count. Alex says me. Wolfie says definitely adds to the feeling of zooming. Azure says camera panning when. Sensor constrained camera panning even? No. Alex says he remapped Afterburner to Z. My controls looking at. Do I have anything on Z? Deploy recall fighters. I just never use Afterburners, so. Control might be better for me. Do I have anything mapped to tab? Oh yeah, fast forward. Figure out if there's anything else I could. V is scan, C is cloak, of course, X is attack. Select nearest asteroid. I thought I got rid of this. So I guess X works, or not X. C, V, F. I mean, huh? There we are. Isn't that the default? I've rediscovered the default keybinds. No. Anyway. A is afterburner. That makes sense. Benny says Rising has been disenfranchised. Dev abuse yet again. Alright, well, it seems like there's at least some interest in the idea, so... We'll look at wrapping it up then. Is there anything else Rising that you need to work on for it, or is it in a good spot? Unlikely, says Azure. You got shrouded systems. You're be happy. Rising says he thinks it's fine. All right. Roadrunner says, honestly, it looks nice, but I feel like it would be distracting when in large battles or trying to chase down a ship. Yeah, that's why I don't see myself using it. But, I mean, if others are interested in it, no harm, no foul. It's not a complex pull quest, really. The mechanism is very simple. So, if this was something more complex, then if there wasn't like a lot of support for it, then I might say, you know what, there's not really enough interest in this to justify the effort here. But all right, I will look at the rest of that later then. Benny says close 20 pull quests so we can get under 100 before it becomes 2024. I don't think we'll be doing that. I mean, do you want to watch 23 pull quests disappear very quickly? Okay, that's a joke. It's a joke. That number was pulled out of thin air. All right. Next, I actually wanted to look at a pull quest from Becca that was opened some time ago. That is not even on the main repository. This is actually on the website repository, creating a new blog post that gives some extra insight into the Kahet and some of their history, and the history of the builders as well. I'm already out of water. I'm drinking so much water trying to, like, help my sore throat here. I might need to go refill this. Now, this is actually something that I did a bit of reviewing on back in October, but then this kind of fell by the wayside as other things came up. But I believe that Becca got to all of my comments. Cough drop will help you, says Alex. I had a few. It helps very temporarily for me. Socks, I'll do something like this for the relay someday.tm. Yes, let's give this a quick read, see if there's anything that needs touched up, and if not, this might actually be good to go. I did actually write up a little blurb for this. To actually post in the announcements channel when this is merged, because I would actually be interested in others opening pull quests like this. Let me see. All right, there's some chit chat going on in the secret rooms, the secret back rooms of the server. Alex asks, this is in Markdown? Yes, it is. I believe so. Markdown, but you can also do some C++, or not C++. You can also do some HTML. Because I think that's what the images are. Yeah, the images are HTML, then the rest of it is Markdown. These are Markdown files, of course, as it says in the file name right there. Anyway. Now this bit here is actually an idea that I gave to Becca, and Becca was like, you know what, I like it. Now, the Watchers aren't actually in the game yet, but I can't see it, says Benny. And Doom says, I can't see it. It must be really secret. Mod Squad or deeper, says Benny. Perhaps. Sock says Watchers are canon before the Avgi dev abuse. Shaking my head, dev factional preferences, as your 1984. Yeah, so the Watchers aren't in the game yet, but I've actually mentioned the idea of the Watchers a few times in the past. Sorry, wrong account, says Sock. The Watchers are a faction that I intend to add further east than where the Gegno are currently located. And the idea behind them is that they are a faction that is almost as old as the Quarg, similarly advanced, but they only live in a single region instead of having rings spread throughout the galaxy as the Quarg do. And their main purpose for the story will be as a lore dump location, in effect. Because the Quarg are, I wouldn't say secretive, but they're not very open with what they know. They don't like to explain themselves or talk a lot about the past or of other factions. The Watchers are supposed to be not exactly the opposite of that, but much more open. If you ask one of them a question, they will actually try to answer it for you to the best of their ability. They may still have a bit of fun with it and how they answer you, but they'll at least give you something. Unlike the Quarg, which would probably just blow you off and be like, I'm not giving you that information. Or they just give you some ominous warning about war. Sog says the Quarg would probably not say anything about the relay and maybe even feign ignorance. Meanwhile, the Watchers will know the most of anyone about them. So if you want to know relay lore, wait 5 years. Yeah, because, I mean, especially with the relay, if the Quarg aren't going to tell you, and there's no way the Gegno can know because they're far too young, they're like, how else are you going to know that information? Azura asks, the Watchers know more than you about them? Question mark. What do you mean by this? They know everything. They know whatever the author needs them to know for the sake of the story. Now, we don't want this to just be like a gimme on anything. We're still going to like pick and choose what exactly the Watchers will tell the player. And this isn't just going to be a method of like you're not going to be handed a history book by the Watchers. I'm like, okay, here's the full history of the Korith, and here's the full history of the High. There's still going to be stuff that even the Watchers don't know. Or stuff that the Watchers think they know, but is not 100%, you know? Do the Watchers know when HR will be rewritten? Now, that's a tough question. Some things are beyond the Watchers' understanding, okay? The Watchers just give you a link to the lore doc for the Korith. Potentially. Anyway, so, the point I was making, though, with mentioning the Watchers is that, my idea was, what if, or actually, when I first read through this, I was kind of confused on, the point of view of this post here. And Becca said, well, it's actually written from the perspective of one of the builder engineers, shortly before everything hit the fan. I was like, well, how do we have this then? Like, there's not only how do we have this, but also like there's not really anything that indicated to me that was the case. So I suggested, what if we have some sort of like introduction at the top that says, hey, this is from the Watcher archives, like, and gives you a short summary on what it is that you're about to read. So that's where we have this. From the Watcher archives, decrypted and translated from records downloaded on Latria Say. The file describes a brief history of the Kahet as written by a builder-engineer 3 months before the first wave of insurrections. So there's a bit of information there. Becca also made these amazing images. Let me actually pull these up first. He made these amazing images to go along with this. Give you a lot more. It's like a cutaway for the. I mean, they're all here. Let me just scroll down to these first. You have these exploded views of the of some of the ships. Look at these two little dudes just hanging out. Here's one of them multiplying. An artistic impression, of course. Got more inside the shell than the shell itself. I mean, the post itself is called Beneath the Shell. So, kind of get where it got that name from. Naked Kahet says you're not safe for work. Yeah, I'm about to be banned from Twitch. Look away, kids. This is why I'm not Twitch affiliated. Alex says they're a bit flatter than I expected. Did you say multiplying? Yes, we'll get into that. Won't someone please think of the children, says Doom. Alright. Oh, sorry, the first image is the Kahet header image, which is this one. I guess I'll just go back down to these so we can see exactly which ones they are whenever they pop up. Early concepts, the supersizing. The story begins over 2 centuries before the first Kahet saw the light. Not when the proposal was first conceived, but when it was first realized, through a tech demo that applied what is known as supersizing an organism. This supersizing process led to the creation of a 3-meter long, half a meter wide worm, capable of sustaining its own weight in a gravitational field or surviving on its own. Or incapable of sustaining its own weight in a gravitational field or surviving on its own. Though its appearance would be much different from what followed, and it had no functions beyond eating and growing, nothing would have been possible without the breakthrough of the supersizing project. As a matter of fact, it wasn't long after this that the Fetra Psi project began to make its first steps. So we have the supersized image. Just this guy right here. Notably, not everything is fully explained in here, because it is from the perspective of a builder. There are some assumptions made about the intended audience is other builders. So there is some information that is left out that isn't fully explained for us, the reader, who is looking through the Watcher archives. Now, maybe there's other places in the Watcher archives where you can learn more about this, or maybe the Remnant know a bit more about this information from what they've seen of the Kahet, or maybe you yourself can go locate some of this information somehow. But not everything is fully explained here, I will say that. When I was first reading through this, I was like a bit confused. I was like, hey, maybe some of this we should explain a bit more, but not everything needs to be fully explained to make sense here. Ryzen says, okay, leaving bye. See ya. Sure says you should have seen some of Sog's ads. Alex says, Sog's ad were offering me great separation and support. Azure says he's also got to go. Alright, see ya. Alright. The Fetra Psi, or Psi, I'm just going to say Psi. The Fetra Psi and the exploration of deep space. It was around this time that between the various departments of the Interstellar Authority, the Psi group was nearing their peak, managing over 24 stations in the core systems, with 3 more in various stages of construction and a number of smaller projects on the capital's surface. They had grown far beyond their initial role of space platform operators and made many inside the government uneasy by the power they could exert. To break the hegemony that was starting to form, the Mara Group was created, intended to take some of the most promising space-based projects and develop them to completion. For instance, the then new program of automating a large part of the interstellar traffic through robotic spacecraft and surface bases. The Psi Group's response didn't have to wait long. A competing program, which instead of automating spacecraft, put supersized organisms at the helm and would have been capable of space travel, and would have been capable of space travel, exploration, and self-replication. Thus, the Fetri were born. Yeah. I don't know, I feel like I should reread that. Maybe rewrite part of this. The Psi Group's response didn't have to wait long. A competing program, which instead of automated spacecraft, instead of automated spacecraft, put supersized organisms at the helm and which would have been capable of space travel, exploration, Oxford, and replication. Thus, the Fetri were born. Also, the Psi Group's response didn't have to wait long. That's an odd. The response didn't have to wait long. I feel like the intention here is we didn't have to wait long for the response. How about the Mar Group didn't have to wait long for the Say's response. That's not what I wanted. Or maybe we could just not even have the didn't wait long. The Say Group responded with a competing program. Which, instead of automated spacecraft, put supersized organisms at the helm, which would have been capable of space travel, exploration, and self-replication. Thus, the Fetri were born. I think that sounds better. With a lifespan measured in hundreds of years, actually first the Fetri exploded. Poor guy. There's him. Some sections removed for clarity. Thank you. With a lifespan measured in hundreds of years and an essentially infinite capability to replicate, it could achieve something only a few probes could ever do, exploring what's beyond the hyperlanes, going further than ever before at sublight speeds and reporting back everything that was discovered. Which it did in some way. Nearly a decade after the program's creation and the first Kase reached a neighboring system, a G-type star disconnected from the hyperlane net, and was blown apart within seconds. Hold on, this sentence kind of seems weird to me. Nearly a century after the program's creation, the first Kase reached a neighboring system. A G-type star disconnected from the hyperspace lane network. I feel like there should be an extra comma there. There? Yeah. Colon. A G-type star disconnected from the hyperlane. And no, not colon. A G-type star disconnected from the hyperlane net and was blown apart within seconds. Its three sister probes, launched a few days behind the first, also quickly fell to the enemy fire. The first result was panic. The second, instead, was the clear realization of the need for a way to defend from the rest of the universe and even strike back. The situation was dire, however. With the Fetricide split between the ones reaching empty systems and the ones destroyed before ever replicating, the central government started deciding on an appropriate reaction. The Mar Group, once touted to be on their way to become a juggernaut, had completely and publicly failed to deliver on the automation project. only completing a few subscale demonstrations in small surface facilities. With this option now unviable, the necessity of creating a supersized organism-controlled warship soon became clear. Still anxious about the power of the Psi group, a new department was created for the purpose, the Het group, integrating the power systems and limited automation created by the Mar over the years with the supersizing technology. The Ka-Het and three-way strategy. Graphic details, says Benny. As more details were being defined about the Ka-Het and their function, a number of military doctrines started to be attached to the concept. For example, the entirely automated construction of the warships was selected on the basis of the assured continued production, intended to keep the manufacturing lines open even in the case of a war with heavy population losses that would make it impossible to find enough qualified personnel. I have to fill this water back up. Whereas most war fleets are composed of by a large number of different vehicles, making sure to fill every niche, it was decided early on in the development of the Ka-Het architecture that this wasn't desirable. The Ka-Mar automated manufacturing technology was often either massive and reliable, or small and slow, sometimes even unpredictable. Making a factory capable of producing a wide variety of vehicles would have been absurdly expensive. And so the focus was put on three highly specific vehicles: the Mari, the Tellus, and the Veretti. Mari Het, Tellus Het, Veretti Het. Let's just look at those. There's your Mari Het. Or Mayri Het, I guess. Mayri Het, Tellus Het, Veretti Het. The Mari Het, or Mayri Het. The smallest of the Ka-Het vehicles is also the most unique. Developed as a long-range scout, it has the capability of completely but temporarily shielding itself from all kinds of sensors, the workings of which are kept secret from everyone not directly involved with the project. Although its future use hasn't been specified, it's plausible to think that they will follow the footsteps of the Fetri, traveling sublight to enemy systems outside of the main cluster and destroying any foe trying to pass through. Or perhaps, once the Celitis research group succeeds in its mission, it could be the first ship to pass through the collapsed anomaly. While away from a control ship, the Mayri is mostly autonomous, deciding the best path forward without external input. However, it can also be given orders from its supervisors as to ensure it will not interfere where it's not supposed to. Interfere? Yeah. Alright, the Tellus Het, the main warship of the Ka-Het fleet, a highly capable destroyer with a firepower rivaling that of a heavy warship, but much more maneuverable. The larger ship, as well as the larger size, as well as the removal of the stealth technology, allowed the designers to expand all the internal systems, from the energy sacks to the vast arrays of shield generators. Whereas a Mayri is perfect for the initial phases of a war, the Tellus and Veretti can follow as soon as the enemy has been scouted to bring it to a quick end. Then the Veretti Het, the capital ship every fleet needs, an incredible force with impenetrable shields, reactive armor, and a massive electric dissipator, nullifying in a few shots even the strongest generators. Its trouble development, caused from the unpredictable size of these supersized organisms and of the shield generators placed on top of it, caused it to end up with a somewhat different design from its predecessors compared to the original concept of an upsized Fetri. Its capabilities have only benefited from this, however. Alone, this ship is formidable. In a fleet, it's unstoppable. After leaving the main Ka-Het station, much like the Tellus, the Veretti start listening for orders and begin patrolling the entire cluster. This way, they will be ready to intervene as soon as they are called into action, without the undesirable delay given by the hyperlane system. Appendix: unique capabilities of the Ka-Se and Ka-Het. We have Fetchy Psi replication. That is this image here. So we have the little drone dude finds an asteroid, plops himself down, replicates, and then you have two. Lewis is also on his way out. Adios. Benny asks, should it be even in the case of a war with heavy population losses, would make it impossible to find enough qualified personnel? So right now it reads, intended to keep the manufacturing lines open even in the case of a war with heavy population losses that made it impossible to find enough qualified personnel. I mean, it sounds fine to me as is. Or that would make it impossible? Is that what you mean? No, just would make it impossible. I mean, intended to keep the manufacturing lines open, even in the case of a war with heavy population losses that made it impossible. I mean, either case. Yeah. Alex says, even in the case that a war with heavy population losses should make it impossible to find enough qualified personnel. I don't know. I think we should stop touching it. They all kind of sound like they could fit. Just kind of like choose one. In any case, the self-replication capabilities of the Ka-Se, actually first, the 4 stages of Ka-Se replication is the caption for that replication image there. The replication, or the self-replication capabilities of the Ka-Se start with the selection of a suitable asteroid to use for it. Let's say for it to use. It will provide the ship with most, if not all, of the necessary materials for this activity and act as a base for the Fetchy for the years to come. Once this has been done, and as long as the Ka-Se has sufficient resources, it will open the aft workstation to begin growing an organism completely identical to itself, moving only to gather additional materials as needed. In around 40 months, the new organism becomes self-sufficient and can separate, first remaining connected to the original's life support through an additional through additional umbilicals, and then surviving completely on its own. In fact, during this phase, the older Fetchy will use the forward workstation to construct the hull and mechanical systems of the new organism, a phase which takes between 5 and 7 weeks depending on material availability. 2 identical Ka-Se now exist, both equally as capable and ready to continue their mission. There was much internal debate during the development of the Ka-Het about these systems and whether they would be harmful or beneficial to the overall architecture. The exponential growth was considered by some to be essential to the success of the fleet, while others found its size and added requirements unacceptable. In the end, the assured continued production doctrine meant that the benefits were seen as irrelevant for the intended use, given that if a large part of the fleet was lost in a single event, building it back would have been impossible. We have the Mayrihet hibernating image, which is this one. Chilling by a red star of some sort, it would appear. Early concepts called for the Mayrihet to have incredibly advanced self-piloting capabilities, returning home automatically in case the main organism was dead, but the overall system was still working. But the overall systems were still working, or even reactivating after it was disabled to cloak and move to a safe space. Much of this was found to be undesirable, unfeasible within the available space, or straight up not within the realm of possibility. But some traces of this confused era remain as what was called the Kahet hibernation system. During the initial time period in which the entire fleet remained stationed inside the main cluster, it is expected that a number of maybe organisms will be lost to testing, manufacturing defects, or perhaps old age. Due to the high value of these vehicles, as well as the necessity of preventing the stealth system from falling into unauthorized hands, a small inflatable device has been conceived which can maintain the Kahet alive enough for it to be rescued and towed back to a nearby station, where it can be emptied and cheaply reused for a new one. Doom says sufficient mineral resources. I just hear that in the voice of the Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri voiceover. Alex says that's kind of confusing. The benefits are seen to be irrelevant. So, this part here. In the end, the assured continued production doctrine meant that the benefits were seen as irrelevant for the intended use. It's saying that the benefits of allowing the Kahet to self-replicate were seen as irrelevant given the assured continued production doctrine, which was stated above as being all of the factories that produce the Kahet are fully automated. So the question then is, like, why would we have the Kahet self-replicate themselves if we already have these robust self-running factories as is? So, maybe not irrelevant, but redundant? Maybe we could use the word redundant. Also, admittedly, I'm not sure what this last bit is really meaning. I feel like I had a comment on this, but this wasn't really cleared up. What does it mean by, given that if a large part of the fleet was lost in a single event, building it back would have been impossible? Building it back up would have been impossible from self-replication? Why would it be impossible? Benny says straight up is a bit informal for a report. Alex says I would add something to benefit then. Benefit of self-replication, and then yeah, I'm just lost. LOL. I think I'll have to read it myself from scratch at some point. I mean, we're tweaking it here. Straight up not within the realm of possibility. Otherwise, instead of straight up. That works. right. Yeah, I think this is good to go. If anyone else wants to take a look at this pull request over on the endlesssky.github.io. Repository. I've dropped a link to it in Stream Chat on Discord. If you guys want to give it your own look without my horrible reading. See if there's anything else that needs touched up. Alright. On to all these other open pull requests, which 3 of them are Roadrunner and 1 of them is Benny. Who wants to go first? I have mission where you transport a high film crew to Dark Rest. Mission transporting a group of college students to Dark Rest. Large Swift Song transport missions. And Adelita journalism missions 1 through 5. Who wants to go first? Have you both run away? Not getting any response. I think I scared them off. I'm actually going to... Oh, Roadrunner's still here. I'm gonna refill my water real quick. Song says give Roadrunner some love. You have been volunteered to go first. Oh, Benny's here now. Yeah, let me go back to the screen. Are you guys not looking? I have high film crew to Dark Rest, high college students to Dark Rest, Swift Song transport jobs. Those 3 are from Roadrunner, and then Adelita journalism. Those are the 4 pull requests I have pulled up. The relatively small content pull requests that I talked about doing. Any votes for who goes first? You guys care? Song says Roadrunner. Roadrunner, any particular pull request among these 3, which should go first? Do we go oldest to newest? Smallest to biggest? Biggest to smallest? Benny also says Roadrunner first. Okay. And Roadrunner says me. Okay, I think it's decided. I think it's decided who's going first. Roadrunner says Swift Song Transport is the smallest in terms of writing. Is that the one you want to do first then? Sog says never mind. She said me, so she doesn't deserve to go first anymore. What do you mean? Give up a perfect volunteer? Roadrunner this is also the oldest, so I suggest doing that one first. Alright, we'll do that one first then. Just after this short intermission where I refill my water. So I'll be back in like 2 minutes. All right. Let's just jump right into it. On ESC. Gray mentioned wanting to add large passenger transport jobs to SwiftSong, a high station that is known for hosting large conventions and conferences. These jobs should reflect this, give the player an opportunity to do more large transport jobs in high space. Leaving this as a draft because I may add more kinds of jobs later. Ideas and suggestions for now for new jobs are welcome. Not sure if I should add custom on complete dialogue for more flavor, and that was all strike through. Thanks to Gray for the idea, with a thumbs up from Zyreal. He can always pull through. If you see a first thumbs up, you can always expect it to be Zyreal. Last approval is from last month. Last commit was typo, sad face. Let's see what we have in store. Right off the rip, this name looks rather long to me, like dangerously long. I might need to pull this up in game and see how it looks. How does it look? How does it look in game? Because that is long. Anyway, is a repeat job. A group of bunks high who need to get to a business convention will pay you payment in exchange for transporting them, and there are tons of supplies to plan it. Between 1 and 2 tons of office supplies. Low passenger number, it looks like. Actually, I figured out how to read this. That's your minimum, right? And then that's used in the negative binomial stuff. Low minimum, at least. So the source is anywhere in high space that is not SwiftSong. The destination is always SwiftSong. You have your generic cargo and passenger on visit. You gain 3 reputation with the Hive for completing this. There's a base pay of 10k credits with a multiplier of 500. That's a bit much, I feel. Because like if I look just above here, 3 to 5 passengers offers half as often as this one. Base pay of 15k and a multiplier of 150. I'm not sure on the very high multipliers on that. During the trip, your passengers appear to be practicing a presentation for the conference. You sense a tinge of nervousness as they give you payment and leave your ship. This one says business convention, this one says conference. It's a bit different. Should this say business conference up here? I mean, this is convention too. Or is a business convention and a conference the same thing? Sog says content creators don't look at their things in game. I thought you knew this. We all look at the text files. Roadrunner says, I don't know, I copied the bunk numbers from a large coalition passenger job. And then I'd say convention for all 3? Okay. Well, if you copied the numbers from a large coalition passenger job, then I feel like the multiplier being so large even makes less sense. Because, if this is going to produce a large number of... You know what, actually. I have a link for this. Boom. Our M is not that. It's 4. Our K is 4. And our P is 0.1. Oh, geez. That's a lot. So on average... No, actually, our peak is... Our most likely is like 30, 31. Let's go down to the probabilities here. No, not I think extras. Our mean, which if I remember correctly, this should be adding M. And our mode. So on average, you're expecting 40 passengers, with your most common being 31. I should add more to this. Because what's the multiplier? Let me go to the wiki. Yeah, I'm going to save this later. P is already in use. P of x equals, or actually x comma y equals d xy. Go to creating missions, payment. Ignore distance calculations. Right here, here's our base plus multiplier times jumps plus 1 times 10 times number of passengers plus tons of cargo. So let me put that here. So it's D plus 1 times, do S and C, 10 S plus C. So you're looking at our, what was our base? 10K plus 500 times P. Let's say you're going 5 jumps with 40 passengers and 1 ton of cargo. That's over $1 million. That's not even the right number at the base. If we used a more expected number, a more expected multiplier of 150, then you're looking at still a little over $1/3 mil, but let's say it's only 3 jumps away. Where is Swift Song exactly located? Graph time? Let's go, yeah. I have the game still here. So Swift Song is here in this system. 5 jumps from Greenwater. 5 jumps from Inmo Dep, which is Stonebreak. So yeah, it seems like 5 jumps is the most you could possibly get. Yeah. So let's say 3 is your average. I mean, that's good pay. That's good pay, even at the 150 multiplier. So yeah, I think the multiplier should definitely be dropped. Anyway, I mean, we could also just like load this up and then just take off and land until we. I mean, I'm gonna do that anyway because I want to see if these names fit. Okay, which one is this? This is 9575. game died on your end? That's rough. Is it good for anyone else? Let me look at my... Not seeing any dropped frames on my end, so... All good, says Alex. It's fine for me, says Benny. Alright. Just Roadrunner issues then. Unfortunate. Let me teleport myself to and swap over the view to the game. Alright. Haha, yep, there it is. It doesn't even get to the name. Transport to science fiction convention A ... How do we want to change that? The suspense is killing me. Hey, what? Planet Business Convention. Done. More reasonable multiplier. Oh, I didn't even look at the cost, or not the cost, the payment. 28 high, 710. 58 high, 1.4 mil. Wealthy high to dark metal, 60k. Special to deliver to skillet, 50k. 48 tons of cargo, 59k. Passenger transport to Stonebreak, 31k. Now, granted, these are smaller jobs, but still. Okay, let's look at wealthy high to dark metal. It's a family of 3 for 60k. 10 times that, you're looking at 600k. Imagining if you had 30 high instead. This is less people, 28 high, not wealthy, so there's not as much of a premium you would expect, but this is still giving 710,000. So it's giving more than you would get out of 10 of these wealthy high jobs. For less people. Alex says, higher broke as hell, the missions do not pay well. I mean, you don't have to worry about piracy, so. Bad conversion rate to credit, says Benny. Birdrunner says, maybe just transport to Swift job for the names. Perhaps. But then you would lose. Like, they would all just be transport to Swift job. Or Swift song, rather. Swift job. What do we have here? Film festival, business convention, music festival. I mean, since these are intended to be special jobs where the destination is only ever Swift song, I feel like transport to Swift song would be too generic. Like, because there could be other normal transports to Swift song that have no relation to these special versions of, I mean, just looking in the game here, passenger transport to Stonebreak, like, passenger transport to Planet is an actual job name. So it wouldn't stick out. You want these to stick out, I feel, given that they are supposed to be special. So I think having it, the what's it called? Like, what the actual event is in the name of the job, that would make sense to me. Alright. Then, change that to convention. Then, let's do the same thing on all the rest. Yeah, same deal here. Also, this is a... Oh, this is 2, this is 4. So those numbers are even different. Let's see what 2 does. Okay, 2 is smaller. As one would think. Convention. What else do we have? Swift Song Film Festival. A group of Bunks High movie buffs will pay you payment in exchange for transporting them to Swift Song, where a film festival is taking place. The High chitter excitedly as they give you payment and step off your ship. Some of the movie plots they discussed during the trip were bewildering. I noticed up here these two are the same, and then these two have the same dialogue at the end. I wonder if we could have something slightly different for the two variants, because like you have a smaller version and a larger version for each of these, it looks like. Yeah. I'm wondering if the second version, the larger version, could have slightly different text than the smaller version. Although, maybe that's... Actually, that's probably unnecessary. Because you already have 5 separate versions of this, technically. You already have, what's it? Science Fiction Convention, Computer Security Conference, Music Festival, Film Festival, Business Convention. These are already all their own variants. So I think having the different text between each of them, like each of the sub-variants, would probably be overkill. Anyway, you know what? I mean, we already talked. Okay, I'm just gonna do the same for the rest. It's probably quicker for you to just go through the whole thing and make the changes than it is for me to click suggest on every single one. Is that fine? we can kind of skim through. Your Wi-Fi keeps cutting out, man. We have 2 more pull quests after this. My throat's starting to feel better. All the talking is shaking up the mucus. Another thing, bit of a nitpick. For all of these, I would do job, repeat, then name. And we also keep the name and description next to each other. So there's the movie buffs. Then we have a music festival. A group of Bunks High will pay you payment in exchange for transporting them to a planet where a music festival is taking place. The High chitter excitedly as they give you payment and step off your ship. You can hear the music blasting all the way from the spaceport. And for the Computer Security Conference, a group of High will pay you in exchange for transporting them to Swiftsong, where a computer security conference is taking place. The High chitter excitedly as they give you payment and step off your ship. Your passengers' conversations went mostly over your head, but they were otherwise pleasant to the entire trip. Science fiction convention. Same thing, the group of High will pay you in exchange for transporting them to Swiftsong, where a science fiction convention is taking place. The High chitter excitedly as they give you payment and step off your ship. As they leave, you can identify some of their memorabilia as being human in origin. Okay, now this one, though, I feel like would be the best place to have a different line of text. Because is it really going to be you recognize human memorabilia every time? What about, what could we say as an alternative here? Any ideas? Benny's is trying to think of 31st century science fiction. I mean, it doesn't need to be specific. It could just be like some generic statement about like high science fiction that a human wouldn't recognize. Roadrunner says, as you leave, you overhear them talking about their favorite holovids? Question mark. Maybe something like that. And Alex says, as they leave, one of them gives you a gesture that you recognize from an old human sci-fi program. And Roadrunner says she likes that one. I like it. Yeah, you don't even need to explain the gesture. Like we all know what it is. Oh, let's say hand gesture. Just to clarify what we mean by gesture. All right. Well, I'll just post that then, and I guess you're back, Roadrunner. You hear me loud and clear. You're not breaking up. I think at one point before I saw you said you were losing connection there. I was saying that instead of me going through and doing the same suggestion over and over and over again for all these jobs, it'd probably be easier for me to just say like, hey, do this for everything, and then have you go through on your end and tweak all these. So drop all the multipliers to 150, swap all the names around so that it's Swiftsong and then whatever it is that you're going to. Instead of transport to that thing at Swiftsong, then the last thing that was a repeat was swapping job and repeat above the name. Benny says a Boundless Frontier shirt. We already have the Boundless Frontiers mission. We don't need that referenced repeatedly in a job either, or as well, rather. All right, let me clear out some of these. Move the graph away for now. I still have that for some reason. Moving some of these around. Alright, which one do we do next? Just keep doing oldest and newest for Roadrunner stuff. What's our time looking like? Approaching 2 hours? Not feeling like I'm dying, so maybe we can go a little longer. Well, at the same time, I actually am kind of getting a little tired. Need a nap. Roadrunner says, I'm sorry, gotta go. Alright, well, glad you're able to stick around for at least one of your pull quests. We'll probably still look at the rest here. But, Benny, how much time do you have? Because we might just hop over to yours next. And then wrap up with Roadrunners if we still have time. But see you around, Roadrunner, then. Benny says, a lot of time. Alright. 2 hours. I guess we can, let me skim through what you have so far first. Yeah, I don't think this would work. The logs might be able to have some substitutions, but I don't think it would, like, take Moonshake, stick it in there, and then permanently this log would say Moonshake. If this substitution did work. I think it would end up, like, always being the current planet you're on or something. Maybe not exactly like that, but I would just keep Moonshake. Although maybe someone could test it just to figure out if it would work. I feel like we've had some logs that use text replacements, but not 100% on that. Alright, this is a, you know what, I just yawned. I don't think we will be going for too much longer than 2 hours. My body was like, you really want to do all that right now? I'm gonna make you yawn. Benny's like mad. There's always time later, you know. I mean, hey, cut me some slack. I was sick. Still kind of am. Let me just skim the other two the Roadrunner has. What are we looking at here? 3 missions on this one. Oh, jeez. And then, 4 missions on this one, but one of them was like a half mission, so like 3.5. Penny says all goods. Yes, he yawned on that one too. Yeah, it's a non-discriminatory yawn. It's not specifically this pull quest. It's just that I'm just generally getting tired. I mean, hey, you heard me at the start. I don't know if it sounds the way to you guys as it sounded to me. But my voice felt so scratchy at the start there. It feels like it's clearing up a bit, but it seems like it's still a bit off. Although I'll actually mention that sometimes I'll be watching a YouTube video and the YouTuber is like, you guys might be able to tell that I'm sick right now. And I'm like, you don't sound any different than you usually do. So I imagine for some people when they're sick and they feel like they sound sick, it's more of like of course you sound different to yourself than others, or than to others, because you're hearing the sound through your own skull. Yeah, Alex, I think it might sound different in your head because of the congestion. Yeah, that's probably what it is. When people say, oh, in case I sound sick, or sorry if I sound sick. So I don't know to you guys if I sound any different than I usually do. But I definitely sound different to me, and I don't know if it's any different than it was before, but it feels a bit different than it did at the start. Got a friend messaging me on the side here. Some funny stuff. Penny says all Americans sound the same to me. Doom says I hate sinuses. I hate sinuses. Worst evolutionary maladaptation I've ever seen. Alex says no. The worst is breathing through the same hole that we eat out of. I was thinking about that yesterday or something like that. It was sometime this week. I was thinking about that, and I was like, wait a minute. Isn't that like all animals though? Like most animals even. Like, you look at any mammal, at least. Every mammal's got a nose and a mouth. Is it just us? Or do they also? It's not most animals, says Alex. Benny says, I don't eat through my nose. And Alex says, you sure do. They're connected under the hood? Yeah. Alex says, not that many animals can choke like we do. Wolfie says, whales have it lucky. Yeah, imagine choking on a krill. Doom says, all mammals, birds, and lizards for sure. But maybe not whales. Insects don't. And they are covered in tiny breathing holes that aren't hooked into the mouth, says Doom. Yeah, that I know. I know insects breathe through their skin in a way. But what do you mean by most animals? Like, what constitutes most animals don't have a connected breathing and eating hole? Because, I mean, like, I feel like at least with mammals, like, isn't it most mammals? It's the same way? It's got to be, like, some pretty early on, like, pretty distant ancestor of everyone that fucked that up for us. Alex says, I don't know, this has gotten so far out of my area of expertise. But I mean, like dogs pant, you know? Although granted, I know panting is more of like their method of sweating, but no, but like they pant through their mouth, so they're pushing air in and out through their mouth, which means their mouth is connected to their lungs in some way. Doom says, I still don't know how spiders breathe. I don't think it's the same as insects. Talk to Iraqi on that one. He probably knows. Ask him for personal experience on that. But, yeah, so there's someone really far back that screwed that up for us. Now, you say not that many animals can choke like we do. Maybe the way everything is hooked up is a little different. I don't know. Maybe they're better at not choking on their food. Woofy says dogs don't have lungs. They're made of pure love. Doom says, yeah, mammals other than humans have an even worse setup with the same hole being for breathing food and cooling. Yeah. Yeah. We're just getting so off the trail now. Doom says, but yeah, other mammals have more or less the same setup of respiratory system that we have. Mouth hooked up to some lungs. Yeah. Anyway, though. I don't know. I said 2 hours at the start, and we've just reached we're about to reach 2 hours. So, do I just cut it? We looked at, 2 pull quests. Well, actually 3. We looked at one of Rising's, one of Becca's, one of Roadrunner's. Maybe save the rest of these for later. Did you finish Adelita? No. I was just saying how I started yawning, and I was like, I'm getting tired. I need a nap. You know what? Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna push it. Benny says, take it easy. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably look at those tomorrow morning. I mean, hey, I actually still have, I don't have to go back to work until Tuesday, so I still have 2 days ahead of me to do stuff. So we could look at these on, like, the 1st or something. A nap might help, still recovering. Yeah, true. I'm a big proponent of napping, okay? I've got a friend who's like, I don't understand napping. Like, I just would fall asleep and then just, like, sleep and then screw up my sleep schedule. And I'm like, you gotta, like, set an alarm. I saw something once where it's like the perfect napping time is anywhere between 1 and 2 hours. If you're asleep for too long, then, like, it, like, screws you up or something if you try and wake up. I don't know. It was like after 2 hours, you might as well just stay asleep or something. Although for me, I just like, sometimes I'll set an alarm, sometimes I'll just like let my body do its thing. I'll have like a 4-hour nap, wake up, do some biphasic sleep schedule stuff. Sleep for 4 hours, wake up for 2 hours, go back to sleep for 4 hours. Benny says, I wish I could sleep at night like I can fall asleep when I'm napping. Alex says, when I wake up after a nap, I'm always inexplicably more tired than I was when I went down. That's not how I am. For me, naps help. Although, sometimes, depending on when I wake up after napping, like, yeah, I can kind of feel a little drowsier than I was when I went to sleep. But usually I just have to shake it off real quick. For me, it's usually like waking up after sleeping is when I feel more tired. Wolfie says facts on wanting to fall asleep as quick as you nap. Anyway, though, yeah, we'll leave it here then. And then we can look at some stuff tomorrow and Monday, perhaps. So, tomorrow, I don't actually know if I will be streaming, but I know that Sog will be streaming. starting at roughly the same time that I started today. And he will be going over some of the mining changes. I don't know if he's still here in chat. I haven't seen him speak for a minute. But he had asked me if I could be present for that, and I think that I should be available. So I might be backseat streaming. Sog is still here. Okay. I might be backseat streaming on that one. I don't know if I will stream. I probably won't stream after that. I won't like be on Sog stream and then do my own stream for my own stuff. Although I do actually want to get through some of these pool quests tomorrow, Sunday. So I might do some of the Roadrunner stuff off stream. Maybe, Benny, do you want me to save your pool quest for stream, or do you not care? Waiting for the response. Waiting for the delay to kick in. Not particularly fussed about it. Okay. I might still save it because it's a bigger one. And those are usually cool for streams. In any case, so a reminder that next week, a week from now, is the next Dev Campfire Chat. We will be talking about the upcoming release. So we'll be releasing at the end of January. It'll be very nice. A lot of cool things already in for this release, and a lot of cool things to come. I know C-Core keeps coming up. C-Core will absolutely be done. I also want the mining stuff in. What else is still up in the air? Sog, anything else that we kind of want to get through? Mining stuff, C-Core. I know we talked about the pirate intro, but I don't know if that'll happen. It kind of depends on if Lake runs through the existing feedback on there. But even with the feedback that's already outstanding on the pirate intro, I feel like that's going to take a hot minute to get through. Just because, from what I glanced at, it feels like there's a lot to comment on, writing style-wise. Sox says, if I get the Gegno first mission series done. Alex says, let me add to your workload. No more. Vector says, makes Gatling turret noises around Sog. Let's see if there's... Let me actually look at the milestone. Let me, what's on the milestone right now? Pull up the browser for you guys. Pug fleets don't leave their systems and jump into human or wanderer space. Oh, we can actually do this now. Actually, no, we can't. We are waiting on this pull request from Tom. Good idea. It is currently waiting on OP, the draft, although it's actually pretty much done. These two comments are just like style comments. This one is change it from unexplored system to just question marks. What else? Oh yeah, it also needs to change maiden player info panel. I think with this done, then we could do the thing I did for the pug. But this also probably is worth dropping. This one is the timer. The timer mechanic that is currently being worked on by Daenerys. There are some outstanding reviews on that. Core system changes, I don't know if that'll happen. HR bridge, I don't know if that'll happen. Enable the use of auto-accepting dialogues and wool smuggling on complete is conflicting. These two are combined, and I don't know if those happen, actually. Uh, this one's definitely not. I'm moving that one. I'm definitely moving this one. That one was one of my pull quests that I closed because I wasn't working on it. This one is looking good. This one I still need to get through. This one is just like far back burner, but I want to get through it eventually. I should just bite the bullet and do it. I'm actually gonna move the pirate campaign prologue out of this milestone because even if we do start getting to it, it'll be like pushing right up against the deadline, which we keep doing that with bigger things. I would rather just push it off. Derelict ship encounters, I commented on that before. I need to get to it. Excessive CPU usage when ready to jump. I think I milestoned this because I wanted to see if the refactor to the distance map would help this. I don't know. We'll see. What's this? Who milestoned this? I did. Oh yeah, because this pull quest is basically done, except it's got a merge conflict. Sam just needs to update this. That's what it was. Who did this? Oh, it was me. This one might be pushed off. These two are combined. Might be pushed off. This one is still waiting on some upstream change. We can't really do anything with this. Map colors are hard to distinguish. Oh yeah, this is because the map key that we made sucks. That might be pushed off. A lot of these I think might actually be pushed off to later. Mandatory Island to finish. Message log UI, that's basically finished. Just need some final touches from Tom. Why did that just update? You fool. This one is waiting on a review from Warp. And this is just a bug that's probably nothing crazy to fix. I don't know. I'll look at it. Anyway. Alex says we actually use milestones? To some extent. Benny says core system changes are also slated for milestone, but I don't know where Gray is on that. I think that is actually waiting on us to get to. I don't think there's anything waiting on Gray for the core system changes. Sog asks, for real though, do you think the Gekno stuff is possible, or would that be too close? I don't know. I can grab that out in 1 or 2 days, he says. I mean, we're kind of already looking at the mining stuff and the pirate stuff, and, I mean, potentially we could look at it. But if we don't get to it in, like, the next 2 weeks, then I would say just hold off. Because, I mean, we want to kind of stop having stuff be merged, having big stuff be merged, like, the week before or the week of the release. It should really be no big deal if things get pushed back a bit. Benny says it needs reviewed and stuff. That will take months, adding to the pirate intro pull quest. What's already there has been reviewed already, but it needs more stuff added to it that will need review. So nothing's happening with it at the moment, so probably not. Sox says, if you think we can, then yeah, we'll grind out the rest of it. I have it conceptually done. I just have to write the stuff. And Benny says, like most things on my mind, yeah. Sox says, most of the missions are done besides the 2 last ones, but they're a bit bigger. Alright. Well, we can discuss that as some of this other stuff gets knocked off of our plates. As far as my pool quests go, that are open. Projectile penetration. I'm waiting. I want a review from, or at least a thumbs up from Quick. I don't know if he necessarily wants to review this. This one I do want him to actually look at because he had comments on this. This one is waiting on Warp. This one is waiting on me to finish. What else? I mean, yeah, you got these 2 bigger. I mean, these aren't small fry projects either. You're telling me you want to get all 3 of your big projects done? Yo, can we do... Hey, I know I have 2 cookies, but can I get a 3rd? Maybe if you're good. Hey, everyone loves cookies. Alex asks, anything is still pending for C-Core, and Benny says merge C-Core. I think this just needs another look from me. Because I know that there was, I mean, the Gatling turret's new from when I last looked, so I will need to look at that. I didn't actually look at the stats in detail last time, so I wanted to do that on my own time. Are the landscapes, I just realized this, are the landscapes that are being used by the new planets duplicates? Like, are they already used? Or did you specifically look for landscapes that are not in use? Because I do know that we have some that aren't in use. Or did you not actually check? Station 8 is definitely a duplicate. Lava 3? Oh, yeah, these landscapes are already used. Didn't actually check, lol. Yeah, Benny says he can fix that up. Okay. Take care of it, please. If you're finding new images, actually first look for existing images that are not in use and see if any can be used. We don't want to add new images if we don't need to. But if you are adding new images, make sure the copyright is what you say it is, because we have that use splash. Pull a quest that's open. Benny says, don't know about the lava ones, could do the city ones easy. I think we actually already have unused city images. So, I would highly suggest looking through what's used and what's not. If you don't know how to look at what's used and what's not easily, I don't know, I could write a script for it. I've done it before. I think I have it sitting around somewhere. Or just ask someone who knows how to do Python. Just parse through parse through the map, planets, find every line that says landscape, strip landscape land from the start, and then add those all to a list and count up. Or actually, add them to a map where the key is the landscape name and the value is the number of times it appears. You should see 1 for everything. And then you can cross-reference that with the landscape folder to see if there's anything that's unused. I don't know how to use grep. I mean, you could probably use grep too. I was thinking of making a Python script for it, which, I mean, we probably should have a Python script that we put in, like, the what's it called, or just some script that we put in the tools folder we have. Is that what it's called? I know we've been... the utils folder. This sucker. Someone do that. Who's been making these? Ask Tybe. Let me look at that. Yeah. Ask Tybe. Tybe will do it for you. Weren't you slandering Python last stream? Yes, I was. But I also said it has its uses. So, you can't diss me. And I think this is a good use case. Because you can do something quick and dirty. Like all Python code is. It doesn't matter if it runs like shit. Because we only gotta run it once. Alex says, spoiler alert, you will not see one for everything. You sure? Because I mean, maybe some twos are in there, but I know a while ago we actually did go through and deduplicate a lot of the images. If there's any duplicates, it's probably in space stations. And anything that's super new. Like any relatively newly added planets. Anyway, I think I'm actually gonna sign off here. We've done like 20 minutes, 25 minutes of waffling here. Sock says Gegner will overuse. Yeah, I don't think we checked that. Probably Bunradia too. I actually did look at the Bunradia a little bit. I forget. Alright then. Thank you, everyone, for showing up once again. Thank you for being in chat and for providing feedback. Thank you for dealing with my sickness and my cough. As I mentioned, Sog is streaming tomorrow. I will probably stream Monday. After that, the holiday season will be over. And unfortunately, I will be returning to a 5-day work week, in which I will not be able to stream as often as I have this past week. The 6th will be our next campfire chat. The 27th will be when we release the next update, which means we're actually 4 weeks away from a new update at this very moment. Very close, very close. Benny says, eat some apples, reviewers need to pull double duty. Exactly. Pull through for this update. Hopefully by Monday I will be fully healed. I'm feeling like tomorrow it's going to be completely gone because it was almost nothing today. But we'll see. I think I said earlier, it's just residual at this point. It's not even actual like sickness of any kind.